again, everybody, and welcome to an all-new episode of Road Trip After Hours. I'm your host, Mac Davis, along with my WWE Hall of Famer co-host, Mr. Teddy Long. Hey, Teddy.
Hey, man, you say that every week. Okay, that's just getting old. Okay?
All right, that pain in my ass is with us again this week. Teddy Long. There you go,
well,
Teddy.
now, there you go. That's exactly what I am and who I am. Okay, thank you.
After a 400-mile trip with you the other day, like driving Miss Daisy. Good God.
Yeah, you were driving. That's exactly right.
Yeah, and you were Miss Daisy the whole time, too.
Don't make no difference. Don't make no difference. You loved every moment of it.
Oh, it was fun. We had a good time.
As the cold air of winter makes way for the beautiful colors of spring, a new movie is on its way. A movie masterpiece is reborn, Driving Miss Daisy. This updated masterpiece stars Mac Davis as Mr. Colburn and Teddy Long as Miss Daisy.
Driving Miss Daisy.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
Hey, man, you say that every week. Okay, that's just getting old.
My mother's a little high-strung. The fact is, you'd be working for me. She can say anything she likes, but she can't fire you.
I wouldn't be in your shoes if the sweet Lord Jesus come down and asked me himself.
Driving Miss Daisy.
Good luck! Good God.
Let's talk about somebody that we saw while we were away that past weekend.
Well,
you saw some. Go ahead.
I wanted to say this too, right after, I screwed the introduction up, but I wanted to thank you and glad to be with you this week. And like you say, we got a real special guest here today, man that I had the opportunity of working with through my career. At one point in the time, he was the assistant general manager with me and just an all-around nice guy. And I'm just so proud that we get the opportunity to have him here, because here's a man right here that didn't let anybody stop him. He was determined to do what he does and to make himself a big name known in professional wrestling. And he didn't need these companies to do it. He did it all on his own. Yep. And that's what real men do. Okay, so I just want everybody to know. And just to have him on here is such an honor, man.
So I guess as Teddy's just kind of wandering off in the woods somewhere right now, I do want to tell you who our special guest is, and that is Mr. Matt Cardona. Hey, Matt, how you doing, brother?
Oh, Teddy, thank you for the intro. It means a lot coming from you. Hey, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. It was great seeing you guys a couple weeks ago at that River City Con.
Yep.
I didn't even know that thing was a convention, but everybody was there. I mean, Teddy Long was there, Matt Cardona was there, Sting was there, everybody was there.
Yeah, and it was. Go ahead,
and let me point this out, too. Now, you remember, Mac, you and I were talking the other day, and I said that Matt come in that place, ain't on nobody's big TV or nothing, and he had a line just as long as the hardest, and now to find out he didn't even know they was having no convention there. And to come in and walk in and get a line, now you tell me that ain't what real men do.
Well, I found out... I did find out a couple of weeks before. I did know, but yeah, what a great convention. The Hardys had a crazy line. Sting's line was nuts. You had to wait on a line to get an autograph, then go back in line for the picture. I want to be as over a Sting.
Wow. Matt, let me ask you something right off the bat, because a lot of people recognize you, if they're a little bit older, as being with WWE at one time as Zack Ryder.
But you always got to put old in it. Didn't nobody ask you about nobody being old?
Sit back, Daisy. But here's what I'm wondering. Are you tired of being mentioned as Zack Ryder, or do you prefer to really be known now as Matt Cardona? Because you've built one hell of a name for yourself since leaving WWE.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a long-winded answer, but I'm forever grateful for my time in WWE as Zack Ryder. But as far as I'm concerned, Zack Ryder is dead.
Yeah.
Of course, at these these conventions, at these signings, yes, I have a Zack Ryder 8x10 for the Zack Ryder fans, because there are definitely people who come up and like, what have you been doing the past 4 years? I understand that. There's people who don't watch independent wrestling, don't follow social media. I get that. But my whole goal was to totally rebrand myself, to totally, restart my career when I got let go from WWE. I've seen it happen to so many people. They leave WWE and their career goes to the independents to die. And I wasn't going to let that happen to me. I was going to do the opposite. I was going to use all the success from WWE and flip the script, be like the anti-Zack Ryder. And it's worked so well so far.
You know, it's funny when we were at that convention, Teddy, as soon as you came up to your table, he said, I got to go. I got to go over here. I need to say something to you. And I knew what he was talking about because he had told me earlier. And he was absolutely right. You have busted your ass to make that name. And it is, to me, at this point, I've seen both your careers before, during WWE and where you are now. I know you more as Matt Cardona than I ever did as Zack Ryder. I think your character, that what you have built over this time, has been incredible. What made you make that leap? I mean, but I know you didn't get picked up by WWE, but surely you had a plan already.
Well, yeah. When I got released, I knew I couldn't just be Zack Ryder without the Zack Ryder name, right? I knew I needed to change. Even when I was in WWE, I knew I needed to change. But there's only so many things in your control, which is fine. I get it. Right. But once I was released, everything was in my control. I could control everything. And for the first year or so, there was, we were in the middle of the pandemic. There wasn't many indies going on. So I kind of was just laying low, kind of, planning things out. But I still didn't have this master plan. I knew I needed a change. I didn't know what the change was. But then once the world opened up and I started going out there with different independent promotions, and there's one company called GCW, and I made my debut there. And they were just, screaming, fuck Zack Ryder, throwing middle fingers in my face. Like, okay, I'm going to use this. This is going to be the catalyst. And I'm going to, everything they hate about Zack Ryder, I'm going to make them hate Matt Cardona for it.
Yep.
Everything they think they know about Zack Ryder is going to be the opposite with Matt Cardona. And it's been working so far.
Well, let's talk about the differences between Zack Ryder and Matt Cardona. You did at one point become the Deathmatch King. Are you still the Deathmatch King? Let me ask you that.
Oh, then now forever, baby. That's forever, right. Yeah. Deathmatch King. That's right.
Did you ever think that you would find yourself in a death match? Because when I saw that, that brought me straight to the internet immediately going, he did what? He's in a death match.
That's why I did it. And people, I've conned the whole internet. They think I do these death matches every weekend. I think in the past 4 years, I've done 3.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, I'm just good at kind of marketing and going with the buzz and thriving off that buzz. But, I was approached to do this death match. This was about 3 years ago. And I credit this death match to turn my whole career around because I knew I needed something to change something about myself. And this was the match because I knew at first, well, first of all, let's backtrack. When I was first approached, I said, I'm not doing this match. No way. I'm wrestling this death match against this criminal, and they just did a dark side of the ring on him at the time. He almost killed David Arquette. I'm like, I'm not wrestling this guy. And then I took a step back and I thought, oh my God, people are going to talk about this. They're going to tune in to see if Zack Ryder, from WWE, can go toe to toe with this deathmatch legend Nick Gage. And I knew, hey, if I'm going to do this, I can't be half pregnant. I got to go all in. This can't be like a fight. This can't be a no DQ match. I have to do everything they think I'm not going to do.
Yes.
And when I did, and then, of course, I win the match, which is the cherry on top. But just having that match changed everything for me. And it's what I needed to kickstart this independent run.
Let me ask you.
You showed them then that they can't stop you.
That's right.
That's what you showed them then. And you didn't back down from the test. All that was a test. And Nick Gage, Jesus Christ, for a man to step in there with him, you know how nutty he is. He will do anything.
He will.
So for you to be man enough to step in there with him and put your body in and maybe your life on the line, I got to give you nothing but respect. And just listening to you now, that's what I'm trying to say. A lot of guys, they if they get let go, they go fall into a hole somewhere. Well, I don't know what to do. And then they just bum out. But you didn't bum out. You didn't worry about that. You didn't let that stop you. You went on and made a name for yourself. And just like you can do it, they can do it. That's why I'm so proud of you, man. God bless you.
Oh, Teddy, that means a lot when you said it to me. And Teddy, he's saying this right now publicly, but he said it to me the other day privately, so It means a lot. I know he means it. I just knew, when I left WWE, this was not going to be the end. This was going to be the beginning. And I know that sounds so cliche and it's so cheesy even repeating it, but that's truly the mindset I had.
Yeah.
This is not going to be the end. This is going to be the beginning. And every time, WWE does the mass cuts, guys, it's part of the business. It's going to happen. People are going to let go all the time. But it's what you do afterwards. You're going to sit and feel sorry for yourself, or you're going to use that momentum to change your career.
And you got to let people know once you get let go of there, life goes on. You still have to continue to live. That's number one. The worst thing you can do is to let them know you need them. That's the worst thing you can do. So I'm just saying, I'm like you. I am happy, man. I am rested. I'm my own boss now. I ain't under no contract. I can talk now. I can tell my story. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And a lot of things I can tell that I haven't told, because I've been in this over 30-some years. So I'm just saying, man, I survived it with the help of God, and you did your thing, man. We're the true OGs, as you would say.
That. I love hearing that. Thanks, Teddy.
Tell me real quick, what is it like for you? Because, for a lot of guys who are on the independents, or even those who are working in some of the big companies, if they want to go out and do what you have done, it requires a lot of work. What is an average day like for you?
Well, it's funny you say that because, right now I'm out with an injury. So technically I should be out, right? I should be out, but no, I won't let the momentum die. My June is the busiest I've been since I got let go from WWE. I think I overbooked myself. I overcompensated after I got hurt, trying to, because I had to cancel some things, switch some things around. And I ended up kind of screwing myself by overbooking myself.
Oh,
but the thing is, I don't work for WWE. I don't work for AEW. So who's going to push me? I have to push myself. If I'm not on social media constantly, I can't rely on someone. If Drew McIntyre is like, you know what, I'm not going to be on my phone today, that's fine because WWE is going to post about him.
Correct.
I don't have that luxury. I have to keep posting. I have to keep forcing things down your throat. So even if you're not going to these independent shows or even ordering them on, the streaming services, what I'm doing. You know that I'm out there. So I'm just forcing people to know what I'm doing. I just will not stop. I wrestle everywhere I can, whether it be the independent shows that are going to get me a lot of buzz or the independent shows that I won't get a tweet about. I'm doing the big shows, the small shows, just trying to cover all my bases. I'm doing the shows where, the fans in the front row are flipping me off and I'm cursing and flipping them off. And then I'm also doing the shows where I'm like, he's pulling my hair, ref. I'm doing it all because there's fans everywhere, all around the world. And I'm just trying to make them all know who Matt Cardona is.
And you got the real creative control.
That's right.
Yeah,
my creative has everything for me.
That's right.
Let me ask you, I'm noticing the belts over your shoulder there and the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship being one of them with the NWA champion at one time. Of all the belts that you've had, is there one that means more to you than the other?
Oh, man. I mean, the NWA World's Heavyweight title, hey, listen, super honored to be, in the record books with some of those great champions. But, I think the cliche answer, and it's the truth, was winning the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. It was a match that I wasn't even supposed to be in, and someone got hurt the week or two before. And one of the times that me politicking for an idea worked, I kind of just I just spilled my guts why I deserved to be in that match and why, one of the lines I said, which wasn't even a planned line, was I never heard my music play at WrestleMania. And that's what actually that Road Dogg was the head of creative at the time. He said that's the line that stuck with him because believe it or not, I had a WrestleMania match once before, but I came out to Teddy Long's music because I was on Team Teddy.
Yep.
So listen, I was in all those jabroni battle royals and those lumberjack, but the only real match I had before that ladder match was being on Team Teddy versus Team Johnny, part of that match, which was so cool. But at the time, I'm like, all right, my WrestleMania moment is getting kicked in the balls by Eve after the match, right? and all the photos that they took, the screen is a giant picture of Teddy's head. So I'm like, I'm coming out to the ring. It doesn't say WrestleMania. It's just a giant photo of Teddy's head. So I'm like, come on.
Oh, peanut head on the screen.
So as great as that match was, I really wanted to hear my music at WrestleMania and have my entrance. And, and just having that entrance was the win. And then, of course, actually winning the title made the night so much more memorable. But just getting that entrance and hearing my music play at WrestleMania, that was the win for me.
Yeah, I remember actually a sketch that you were just talking about, you and Teddy. I do remember a sketch where there was an argument about whether you were the assistant or the assistant general manager. Teddy kept saying, you're just the assistant. But at one point, you got Kali to come in there and do the woo, 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 which was absolutely woo, woo, woo. It was, but y'all's chemistry on screen, I thought, was really good. You and Teddy both. It was natural.
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
I can work with anybody. Okay. I ain't got anybody you see me with. Whatever we do, we get it over. We have no problem. Anytime I can lay in a coffin and be headlined with Undertaker, that tells you right there, I can do anything.
I mean, Teddy is one of those guys. If that Teddy Long music hit today, WWE on Independence, the place would go nuts, because of all that stuff he did as the general manager. Just the character work, the storytelling. He's such a lovable character that it'll live on forever.
Yeah,
Matt,
I know thank you, Zach.
I know that we're running short on time, but Matt, real quick, you have a podcast of your own. I do want to get that over as well. Tell us about the podcast, because this is something Teddy may not be aware of.
Oh, so I have a podcast called the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. Myself and Brian Myers, aka Kurt Hawkins. We actually started while we were in WWE, kind of just doing nothing. We're like, hey, we have all this downtime. Let's do something. And we started this podcast about wrestling figures and wrestling collectibles. And it's been just about 6 years doing it every week. You guys know podcast is pain in the ass to schedule. You know how it is.
Yeah.
We've done it every single week, never missed a week. I will say this, Teddy Long, somebody who doesn't have enough action figures out there.
Correct.
That's
we talk
sure.
about that all the time.
You want to know why? Matt? And you may not know this, but John Laurinaitis told me to my face the reason I didn't have the action figure because the consumers told him they would not buy my doll.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I can tell you about it. It's a straight up lie. I'll tell you what it is.
I think there's so many smaller companies out there now. If you don't have a WWE Legends deal, I'll make some calls after this interview. We'll get Teddy Long a new action figure for sure.
Well, I do have a WWE Legends deal. I do have that. I don't know how long I'll have it, because I said something earlier where you can't let them, you don't need them. And I'm just being straight up with you. It's life after wrestling. You can't. I'm not one of those guys that sit around, and I used to hear this all the time. Some guys get let go. They call that office every day. Y'all got anything for me? Y'all, anything? And I hear, then that's the truth. I never called that office, not one time, never. Only time I talk to that office is when they give me a call.
And Matt, you make, you were just referencing a minute ago, you actually make action figures now, your company, right?
Yeah, so we make our own action figures. Pretty wild, so it's unfortunate that I get to still wrestle. I have a podcast about wrestling figures and actually make wrestling figures. Like, is it hard work? Like, yes, but is it really work at the end of the day? I'm doing what I love to do. I'm talking about men in their underwear, and I'm making figures of men in their underwear. It's not good. Things can be a lot worse than that,
That's right.
Matt, I appreciate your time. Real quick, if you got a road story you can share with us, I didn't even have time to ask you that. And if you got one, you got one. If you don't worry about it. But
oh man, I think all those La Familia days, Teddy was around for that when it was me, Hawkins, Edge, Chavo, Vicky, Teddy, it was just unbelievable times, I remember Teddy having the heart attack. That was pre La Familia. That was a different one. And there's so many times just being on stage and just like, Vicky had so much heat during that time. I remember sometimes I'm trying to figure out if I had to talk in the promo, when do I talk? Because I can't even hear over Vicky with this microphone.
Yeah.
Talking on a microphone, and she's getting all these boos. Just that La Familia time was just very important for me for so many reasons, because I get to work with Teddy and Chavo and Edge, Adam, like in the backstage stuff, learn how those work, because that stuff is more, in my opinion, is more important than the ring.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the setup. That's the stage.
Sure. And if the characters don't connect to the audience, then we're just doing moves in the ring.
Correct.
But on the flip side, I was learning the things in the ring from Edge, from Chavo. Edge would be wrestling these main event matches, and me and Hawkins would be ringside, literally having a better seat than the front row, listening to little things, watching little things. So that whole La Familia run, whether it be the backstage stuff or the in-ring stuff, it was just an invaluable lesson that at the time, I don't think I really realized what I was learning. I was such a young kid at the time. It's not till you look back later, like, oh man, like I'm so grateful for that time period of my career.
Well, Matt, thank you very much. Teddy, before we get out of here, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I want you to hurry up and close the show.
Yeah, look, you just rude now. Okay. Matt, again, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. And as Teddy said, we are so impressed with what you have managed to pull off. And actually, you banked on yourself, and it's turning out great for you. And I love to see that.
Well, I appreciate that. And even now, now that I'm injured, it's funny because in GCW, that's the deathmatch company.
Yes.
I am now, instead of, just sitting home, I'm the general manager of GCW.
Yes, you are.
Wow.
And I'm everything I learned from being Teddy's assistant. You know what I'm saying? It's coming into play. But that's the beauty of this death match promotion. I come out in a suit as the general manager. They absolutely hate it. I just do things that that would be done in WWE, and on these certain independent shows, it's like they treat me like I'm the devil for doing anything that I would do in WWE. So it's so fun. Maybe I think if Teddy Long ever came to GCW, maybe GM versus GM, I think Teddy would get a big pop.
Yes, that would be cool. That would actually be really cool.
Oh yeah, hey, we do. It'd be Team Teddy, Team Matt.
I love it.
All right, we're out of time. I am Mac Davis, your host. That's WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long.
That.
And of course, our special guest, just ignore Teddy, old cranky Teddy off in the corner there. Our special guest, Matt Cardona. Matt, thank you again very much.
Thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I love you, brother. See you down the road.
Teddy. Thanks.
All right.